Um, yeah. So so just so that you're aware, Business Station is considering trialing it at the moment. So we've done one trial. Most of the software comes from the US that you set up your own online speed networking on. So we've done one trial where they've helped us set up a really basic kind of experience, and we've done it internally. And the next step is going to be for us to try to figure out how to set it up ourselves, because there's a lot of different settings. And I'll run through some of those settings later, because there's a few different ways you can kind of approach online speed networking. Yeah, it's exciting times. And I think also Gold Coast Innovation Hub is pretty interested in, and also Space Cubed is interested in kind of partnering together with us to help activate the small business and startup ecosystems and help the right people come into contact with each other and almost play like the role of God, like creating this strategic serendipity so the right people meet each other at the right time, because that's always going to be difficult within the context of like a business ecosystem. But if we can start to solve that issue, then, you know, that would be fantastic. So let's see. Wow. Okay. So we've had a lot of comments come through. I'm just trying to catch up with them. So Anicia mentions she might try it soon, may try actually organizing you know, online speed networking for what she does. Jason thinks it's a good idea to give it a shot. So does Sonia. So Sharon's saying, because I help people attract their life partner, I have considered creating speed dating. Yeah. Well, that's one of the use cases, right? For this kind of software. You know, you can have mentors and mentees, you can have buyers and sellers, you can have students and enrollment officers, you can have, you know, to join a university, you can have, you know, employees and employers. That's a really good use case as well. So there's a million different use cases for this kind of technology. Yeah. So it would be great if Business Station does lead it and we can connect with this. Yeah, we intend to. And I'll explain why, because it really works very well for us, you know, as advisors. And if you are, you know, professional, you know, if you are an advisor of some sort, either a business advisor or in professional services, then you might find that this is an extremely useful tool for, you know, business development and lead generation and all this other kind of good stuff. Okay, so Ro Gorel is attending one tomorrow for the third time. And yeah, she's already met some really good people. Is that within District 32? Because I know that they're running one tomorrow as well. Okay, cool. We've got a lot of comments. Excellent. Okay, so let's move back to the presentation. So yeah, I think everyone can see all of the various applications and, you know, the various possibilities that they could create for themselves and their businesses and their associations. If they happen to be, you know, the president of a chamber of commerce, then that's another really good use case. Yeah, so what exactly is online speed networking? It's just like speed networking, but online, and it is kind of like a new marketing channel / sales channel. So you could, I'll show you where you would put it in your business model. So of course, the business model is like this one-page canvas. It's like a one-page business plan, and there's parts that would obviously be benefited by the presence and the ability to use online speed networking. Yeah, it's definitely going to be part of many people's marketing mix, particularly those that are trying to connect with small and medium business owners who make themselves available through this channel pretty readily. And I've seen networking companies provide about 3 to up to about 6 different sessions one-on-one. So each person gets about to meet 3 to 6 people on a given online speed networking session, and then you'll get 10 minutes with each of them. And you can discover not just customers, but also partners, so people that you can partner with and co-create value for an end customer. Yeah, so the different types of online speed networking. So there's the peer-to-peer one. So if we just had a whole bunch of different, small business owners or startup founders, then they can potentially help each other by sharing insight, knowledge, market intel, all that kind of stuff, all that kind of good stuff. And that's kind of the approach that's taken within the context of District 32 and I think BX at this moment in time. It's mainly peer-to-peer. They're not doing dividers, but I have mentioned to Dean from District 32, it might be a great idea to do mentor-mentees. So I do know a lot of these kind of like networking clubs have appointed experts for various subject matters, and so that they would be quite well suited to being a mentor on the mentor side of the divide, right? So yeah, I do know also that sometimes one of the other good settings that you can use within the context of online speed networking is to kind of explain who you want to meet, whether it be a small business owner that does B2B or B2C or B2B2B or B2B2C, or there's sometimes the opportunity, but it's really up to the organizer how they kind of configure the matching algorithms, and so that the right people come into contact with others that they can either do business with or partner with in some way. So we've talked about the different use cases, mentor, mentees. It could be male, female, or you might have kind of homosexual or LGBT dating of some sort. That would be quite interesting. Buyers and sellers, employer and prospective employees, and the list just could go on and on. And so these sessions are typically run on online speed networking platforms like speednetworking.com. So as you can see, District 32 are using this particular platform, but there are other ones as well that I've come across. There's another one called Glue Up. I've never tried it. I haven't met the people involved, but apparently they've got a decent amount of market share. Excellent. Yeah. So divider ideas, fantastic. Yep. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I'll move on to the next slide. So this is effectively what it looks like. It's nothing particularly special other than the fact that instead of having to reach out cold to a bunch of people that may or may not want to engage with you, you've got like between 3 and 6 people that are really keen to expand their network and are wanting to meet people just like you. So it's yeah, the matching algorithm does work pretty well. I think, having reviewed the meetings that I've had in the past, almost all of them have been productive. I think only one of them was perhaps not as productive, and that's because, yeah, I think that particular individual was part of the, like multi-level marketing kind of business model, which as an advisor, I can't really add a huge amount of value to that particular business model, but that's okay. I mean, they must be getting something out of it. And there are a minority of people that are in these networking clubs that are actively pursuing MLM and that kind of business model. And so a good thing about the platform as well, I'll just quickly show you some examples. Once you've connected with someone, so say you're part of a networking club, you won't meet the same person twice. And then once you've met them and you've got to know them a little bit, then effectively you will have their contact details and you will be able to, reach out to them in the future as well. So let's see, I think this one, let's go to this one. So all of your connections are stored within this platform, and then you can actually. And I've actually recently reached back out to this individual, SP Singh, because I came across another client that was doing something similar, and I connected him with that client. And yeah, as far as I understand, they've got a coffee or a virtual coffee scheduled. They're both in Perth, so they can meet pretty easily. And so, yeah, in a certain respect, it does make a little bit more sense to connect up by geography, right? So you might want to have Perth, and then you might want to do the Southwest, and then you might want to do Brisbane, and then separately you might do the Gold Coast or the Sunshine Coast, and maybe more regionally. I'm also thinking of doing it for Expressway. So I run this innovation networking forum called Expressway that's been going about 10 years. So I've had to take over the reins of that. And what I'm thinking of doing is actually transforming it more into a pure play kind of networking opportunity for small businesses and startups. The idea that kind of the founding idea of Expressway, which is, yeah, again, that innovation forum, was to try to connect up the entirety of Queensland. So, so people from different parts of the country, so from all the way up in Cairns, all the way down to the Gold Coast, could meet each other quite seamlessly. In the past, it's mainly been a content-driven kind of forum, but now I'm thinking, you know, it's really easy to get your hands on really good content for free from, you know, YouTube or various other sources. So I think where the market could be shifting is away from, you know, meeting on the basis of a particular topic, and more based on building those new connections. Although, you know, that being said, you could also, for example, we could create an online speed networking that just specializes in, you know, the topic or the thing could be like digital marketing, or it could be branding, or it could be something specific, so that all those kind of people are attracted to that particular event, and there's actually a little bit more of context for them to meet. There's a bit of a topic that they can you know, discuss within the context of those one-on-one meetings. But you don't necessarily need to have that even. So sometimes it's just all about meeting other small business owners and you know, communicating with them one-on-one so that they can decide whether there's an opportunity there for them to collaborate with you, or vice versa, or even make referrals. So yeah, okay. So Anicia Murphy is saying, so her question is, so this is actually the direct website to speed networking. So usually you have to be invited, right? So if you're to become an attendee or a host, you need to become an attendee. Usually you're invited by a networking club like a District 32, BNI, BX, you know, one of those kind of organizations, and that's what they call businesses, to actually activate these ecosystems and keep them engaged. And if you want to become a host, then you actually have to reach out to speednetworking.com and you know, maybe get on a trial plan and give it a crack and see if it works for what you're hoping to use it for, right? Cool. So yeah, so what is online speed networking like to attend? It's just like having a Zoom call, except you do get all of the information, like the contact information, so you can follow up later. You can send people stuff, you can connect up for a further conversation to further explore what you are wanting to do, what you do, and all that kind of stuff. So just looking at the WA market, just because I've been spending most of my time in Western Australia, just reflecting on who's already using this platform to the best of my knowledge. So I'm pretty sure BNI is using it. And that's what I hear on the grapevine. I definitely know BX is using it because I've seen their calendar and I've actually interrogated how often they meet and do online speed networking and which geographies you can kind of connect. Because I mean, if you're in Western Australia, one of the most isolated parts of the world, you can easily connect into Queensland and New South Wales and Victoria through this channel and meet all these people that are wanting to meet people like you. And it works really well. District 32 obviously uses it, and so I'm active within that space. One thing that they've also mentioned when I talked to the guys from online speed networking I think it's just speednetworking.com is sorry, got some annoying music in the background there. Must be like a ice cream machine or ice cream van. It'll move on hopefully. Yeah, when I was talking to the speednetworking.com guys, they were mentioning that even Fortune 500 companies were using it because these companies were starting to lose some of their kind of corporate culture. And that is as a result of COVID happening and people working from home and people doing hybrid and all that kind of stuff. So effectively, what this is starting to do is replace a bit of that water cooler talk where you just walk past someone and you make an offhanded comment and it turns into a bit of a conversation, which is mutually beneficial and helps you kind of maintain alignment within the organization. And you can imagine that these companies would be struggling quite a bit if everyone's working from opposite ends of the city or the world or whatever it is. And based on my conversations with other kind of players in the innovation and small business and startup space, I think that there's going to be quite a bit of an uptake in those sectors as well. So all the not-for-profits like your Space Cubes, like your business stations, Gold Coast Innovation Hubs, maybe we can encourage Smart Precinct NQ as well to participate. Yeah, so there should be a lot more of this going on. But I think that we can't just go online. I think that we can build connections online, these initial connections, but we still need to meet offline as well to make sure that we understand who each other are and interact a little bit more meaningfully offline as well. So there's a huge number of benefits of online speed networking for the smaller end of town, the small businesses and the startups. So it's all about the efficiency, right? So often your business model depends on how quickly that you can kind of attract clients, generate leads and convert leads and nurture and everything. And this all involves getting in front of the right people quickly and efficiently. And so that's what this does. It allows us to meet people a lot quicker, partner with organizations, small, medium, and micro, a lot quicker, and also make a lot more sales and kind of buy and procure services that we need to add to our own businesses. What I found is that sometimes we can go straight from speed networking to working together straight away. We don't need to go through an additional discovery meeting because that's already kind of happened. And that really helps streamline things quite a bit. And again, it kind of, getting those discovery meetings can be quite annoying and time consuming. So the ability to remove one of the steps from your sales funnel is pretty important, right? So again, coming back to the fundamentals, speed networking, online speed networking, networking in general, a lot of the time it's about filling up the top of your sales funnel and progressing from there, and then actually managing that, and converting some of those leads into active opportunities. It's also about supercharging what I call your customer development strategy, which I'll come back to at the end, what I mean by that. But understanding the market effectively, that's in large part what customer development means. And there's a few stages to that I'd like to share with you. You can also practice your pitch as well. So maybe you haven't been pitching as much as you perhaps should have as a small business owner. Well, this will this will actually correct that imbalance quite dramatically, and you'll have ample opportunity to see how well, your pitches actually turn into business, right? So that's really cool. Also, sometimes you can get great ideas from others that are doing similar businesses to you. So peer advisory can happen without the need for a peer advisory group to be formally created, although that can be beneficial as well. You don't need to leave home. So you don't need to get in the car or in the train or the bus or whatever. And that could save you potentially hours of commute. And then, this whole idea of connecting with people in other parts of the country. So we're starting to break down a lot of the barriers that the tyranny of distance creates for us. SpaceCubed is also in the process of launching a program to try and attract Asian businesses into the WA market. And I think that this is going to be fundamental to helping us find the right businesses to bring to Perth, but also provide the opportunity to help them connect into the right part of the market for themselves. So so many use cases, so many ways we could slice this pie, and so many topics and themes that we could create around the use of this particular approach. And if we were to zoom out a little bit more, we're talking at ecosystem level. So I'm, as you might know, one of these people that could be considered in some respect a startup ecosystem leader or a small business ecosystem leader, just because I'm part of an organization that runs, a program that caters to thousands upon thousands of small businesses. And for us, it's all about activating those existing networks. They already exist. We just want to add more value to them. We want to connect them up better, and we want to make sure that it's almost like user-generated content as well. Like, other people are helping us advise and strengthen and support other small businesses without us even needing to do too much. We're just creating the structure around that. It'll help us expand these networks, so more and more people will start to find value in being part of these networks. And also, if we partner with other organizations like the GC Hub or SpaceCubes, then we'll be able to blend and interconnect and better service and support as a team all small businesses and startups, hopefully in these key geographies. And then a whole bunch of relationships will be formed between advisors and founders, which is what that's the use case we use it for. I've gone to about 3 or 4 already, but I've already started to see the potential of what this what this could mean for my business, and the ability for me to kind of move around as I do. I like to travel a lot, and remain connected to these various ecosystems that I've kind of already cultivated a presence in, and now it's a matter of kind of retouching and re-engaging over the course of time. In the past, it's been kind of difficult to create a small business around low ticket or even medium ticket products and services. Like, you would be needing to sell something with at least thousands, if not tens of thousands of customer lifetime value for this to make sense, for that business model to make sense. But because of the ease at which you can actually meet new leads and new partners, you're able to sell lower and lower ticket items because the amount of time that you need to invest in creating and nurturing that relationship is significantly less. But one of the important things about, interacting through online speed networking and is to really focus on making people aware of your service rather than trying to hard sell. Because as soon as it starts to sound like a sales pitch, then you can lose people, just the same way as in person within the context of regular networking or regular speed networking. And so trying to focus in on market education rather than hard selling is always a really good principle to observe. So just quickly, I thought I'd run you through how I personally kind of present and what I've found to work within the context of online speed networking to kind of market / sell my services. Now, sell is a bit of a strong word because I'm kind of part of a government program. The kind of services that we're selling, it's more like encouraging people to participate, right? Rather than them making a massive financial commitment. So what I've found to work pretty well, the kind of order of communications that I try to kind of fit within the 10-minute framework is try to get them to understand who you are and what your expertise is, and quite equally understand who they are and what their expertise is off the bat straight away. So understand the context as much as possible, and then try to understand specifically the context with respect to your product or service, right? And so diving straight into qualifying questions is pretty important. So typically my service is best applied to earlier stage businesses. So businesses that have been going for 3 years or less, they might still be a little bit in the startup phase. And so one of the things I like to know straight away is like how many staff someone has already employed, and also how long they've been going with what they've been doing, just to get an understanding about the maturity of the business. I also try to understand whether they know what a business model canvas is. Do they know what a business model is? Have they seen one recently? When was the last time they updated theirs or completed theirs for the first time? Just try to understand what this phrase means to them and what it has meant to them and their business in the past. So getting the context straight is really important. And then most of the time people haven't seen a business model canvas. And so when they kind of answer that they haven't, then I, physically, if I was there in person, I would pull one out. But through online speed networking, there's the ability to share your screen. And so what I do is I start showing them a few of these visual strategy canvases and explain to them fundamentally what it is, so that they can start to assess whether they see value in undertaking an exercise to fill one in, and further, whether they'd like some help in making sure that they've filled it in to a really high standard. And yeah, so you can show them, some of the marketing collateral, and the marketing collateral, this thing usually sells itself more or less once I show people it. But if I was to try and describe what a business model canvas is, it would take me a lot longer than 10 minutes. And I don't think it would provide people very memorable experience. So it's definitely been a step forward for me in my kind of business maturity to make full use of visual tools like, these canvases. And then there are some other things that I can show them, like I've got blogs that I can provide people that show all the rest of the canvases, like your value proposition canvas and, operating model canvas and various other canvases. So it's not just this one canvas that I can help people with. There's a variety of other ones. And then there's some other useful information that provide, it's all about creating value, and it's all about providing information that people can use and apply straight away. And then what I hope that people will do, and what they end up doing quite often, is they kind of close themselves, right? They decide whether they need this particular service at this particular moment in time of their business journey, of their business building journey. And so then once you've asked the clarifying questions and the qualifying questions, and you've shown them what it is, then comes the time to ask like the closing questions, like, do you see value in this particular approach, right? Do you see value in completing a business model canvas for your business at this moment in time? Or if not, maybe it's the value proposition canvas or the operating model canvas or whatever it is, right? So it gets them to decide, And often they'll say, yes, I do see value in this. How do we take next steps? So I didn't even need to ask them, to take next steps. They already want to know. And yeah, this just provides them the possibility and opportunity to self-close. And then it's just about following up. So you might have a standard template that you send people. You might send them, a PDF with this particular, model canvas on there. And also I can share with them how to get themselves set up on a particular software that they can use to map out their business model canvas. And yeah, so you provide them almost like a pack of information that helps them help themselves and helps them access what you want them to access and what would be good for them to access. So it explains to them how to kind of consume your product. And then in the background, I typically get a booking assistant to help contact them and ask them, would they like to move to the next step and actually spend time and take a look at their business model together with me. Okay, so Colin has to go. That's all good. Thanks for coming along, Colin. Hopefully that was useful, and best of luck in Thailand and all of the rest of the countries that you're serving. And so looking at the effectiveness of it, already after 8 of these micro meetings, 2 new clients, 2 new referrals, which turned into clients, 1 follow-up call, and I've already made 1 referral to one of the people that I met. And I think there's going to be a bunch of other referrals that I'll need to make off the back of this particular presentation to kind of maximize the value of kind of the interactions of those 8 meetings. So it can be incredibly powerful and productive use of time. So the main takeaways is that usually, the ratio between speed networking meetings and new clients is roughly 2 to 1. Small business networks, like the ones that are, have been socialized to give referrals and connect people as part of how they behave, they're a lot better at giving referrals than the mainstream public. And I've got this huge insatiable desire to want to increase the amount of online speed networking meetings that the WA and Queensland markets have access to. So watch this space, because in the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to be doing some more, work in the space. Yeah, that's pretty much it, other than just talking about how your, online speed networking relates to your business model in terms of how to power or mature your business model. So obviously through online speed networking, you can meet more key partners, which is this square to the left. It can help you sharpen your pitch a lot. So your value proposition might evolve and change. It's a really good way of nurturing customer relationships and building new partnerships. So customer and key partner relationship square is captured. It's a new channel, and then it can provide you with access to new customer segments as well. Excellent. Thanks so much, Sonia. Thanks for touching base, and we'll definitely be inviting you to participate in online speed networking through Business Station in the coming weeks, I'm sure. So just a last point on supercharging your customer development strategy. So Steve Blank, who's like a famous kind of Silicon Valley kind of tech entrepreneur, came up with this whole concept of customer development. And all it really means is getting to know your customer base intimately, right? So at the start, the work that you need to do is to discover who your customers are, and then you need to validate that those are indeed your customers and they're willing to pay a certain amount for a particular product. And then you learn about them so much that you figure out how you can just start to create customers. So I would say, if I was to look at my advisory business, I would hopefully be at least at stage 3, which is customer creation phase. And what I'm trying to do now is double down on this, because online speed networking has become such an important and high potential tool for what I'm doing, particularly because for people to understand my value, they kind of need to talk to me. They can't just, read off a website and understand my value by themselves. So there is a consultative element to it. And then after that, then there's company building. Once you've figured out how your business model works to the stage that you can start to create customers willy-nilly, then of course you can start to employ people and you can start to build a bit more of a significant company structure around what you're doing. So Shannon says, thanks for this. So what I understand is that we can either join Business Station Speed Networking or run them ourselves using the platform you are recommending, or both. What is the name of the platform? Okay, so yes and yes. And the third point is it's speednetworking.com. And these guys are in America, so they got funny accents and they are awake at weird hours, but they're pretty nice. I quite enjoy their company. Yeah, if you'd like, send me an email. I'll send you an email with this presentation in, reply to me. And then if you'd like, I can introduce you to one of these guys and then they can, take you through that process of understanding the administrative side of putting together one of these online speed networking events for yourself or your particular use case. And yeah, we'll keep you also posted, hopefully through the newsletter when we're thinking of launching our first publicly available online speed networking. So definitely jump on board as quickly as possible. We'll also try and have an interesting mix of different advisors around the country so that you can, receive some additional support in various ways. Yeah, if you've got any questions, just let me know about online speed networking or any of the other concepts that I've shared. But actually, you guys have been very interactive, so very much appreciative of that. Thanks for your questions so far. So any more questions, just type them quickly. Oh, there's already more. Thanks, Anazia Murphy. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's true. It's nighttime. Are you across in the US, are you, Anazia? Okay, any other questions, guys, before we wrap? Yeah, so Anazia's found us through all the way from the US. Wow, so that just shows the power of this topic. Yeah, thanks very much, Ro. Also, just in closing, of course, you're welcome to join us. So the first opportunity to work with me in some capacity is to join us for online speed networking. So we'll be launching first in Queensland and Western Australia. That'll be part of the Expressway, Innovation Forum. And if you haven't yet put together your business model canvas, yeah, feel free to reach out and I'll send you all the information about how to get started with putting together a business model for yourself. Then we can work to clarify and optimize what you're working on. So it's a bit of a co-creation exercise. We're working together to try to help you optimize what you're already doing. So it's a good process. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for your attention and thanks for your questions and engagement, and hope to bump into you guys in the not too distant future. So bye for now. Catch you later.